Well, in the study of information systems, we are emphasizing again and again on the fact that the focus of this course is not to have a tunnel view on any one particular topic, but to have this holistic approach towards understanding the information systems. In this regard, we are seeing different issues which make up for this complete integrated system which we are calling as information systems. We saw how data can be handled in one section, and not to lose the sight, we also saw how data can gain power with networking when we enable data to move across the organization. That is what we have seen. In a sense, networking should be seen more as an enabler to data communication. Why are we interested in networking is not in the technology of networking per se, but in the ability of networking to make data move. Data in motion is our interest, and network makes data move. So as an enabler technology, networking interests us. Why is that so? In general, any technology is nothing but an enabler to human action. Technology in itself does not do anything. Technology enables us to do something, maybe in a better way, I don't know. So similarly, networking enables data movement, but whether the data movement in itself causes something we do not know. Just because data moves, we are not claiming here that the value of the data becomes more. It's not the case. Something should happen with the data moving. Certain services should be created. That is what we have seen. Services like communication technologies, collaboration technologies, or a service like search engine, or those services which are bundled together with a common name called as web services, or enabling distant education, or enabling education over internet, e-learning. All of this should happen using this networking. Just because there is networking, nothing will happen. Because we believe that when collectively people come together to do some things, maybe the change will appear, but something we really doubt that. There is a saying that ants are collectively intelligent and individually stupid. Ants are collectively very intelligent. When they move together, they are very intelligent. But leave an ant independently, it will move around like an insane organism. It will not know what to do. So ants, it seems, are collectively intelligent and individually stupid. I think for humans it's the reverse. We are individually very intelligent, but collectively we are stupid. I don't know, maybe some other class we can discuss this. I am just making a blank statement. Why? Because regardless of the technology that we have developed, all the technologies which envision humans to communicate with each other has not resulted in a collective action. The individual communication, the speed of that has increased. Take any communication technology that we have developed, email. How is email being used? Do we use email to communicate with each other, that is individual communication, or do we use it as a tool for collective communication? More or less initially had a design principle of enabling group communication. But how far have we succeeded? Can we set one example of people using a communication technology to do something very, very meaningful? Using group mail to accomplish something really meaningful across the history or your individual experience? Very, very few. Take social networking technologies or groups. Thousands of groups are created every day. Does something happen through those groups? Or simply we write, what is that called? Scrap. You keep scrapping. That's again individual communication. Collectively nothing is happening. Using web as a platform for collective action, I have not seen any solid examples. I don't know why this happens. Okay, why go so far? Let's come back to our own house. Information system block is there. Is it used as an individual medium or collective medium? Individual. People, when they are faced with the deadlines, they post there. After that, my job is over. Technology is there. Technology is there. But action is not. So who is to be blamed here? It is not an isolated situation. I have seen this happening in almost all situations. Technology is available. But how far we use the technology for common good is to be asked. So, rather than treating this question as a technical problem, we should now start treating this question as a social and cultural problem. There is something, I think, which stops us from using this technology the way people envision it to work. There is a long gap between what people expect from technology service and how we are using it. So what I am trying to say is, on the one hand, we have developed technologies which enable networking and collective human actions and all that. On the other hand, the examples of using this technology for the better good is missing. Why I am making all this long talk is because I wanted to take up the issue of e-commerce today. E-commerce is the next focus of our discussion. I don't know why Raynor, Turban and Porter have taken out e-commerce as a separate topic for discussion, because in the earlier chapter also they were discussing the possibilities of networking. Network services they call it. In network services they have listed all the things which I told now. That is distance learning, e-learning, search engines, communication, collaboration, web services. Are they not part of e-commerce? Or is e-commerce something different from this? Raynor, Turban and Porter have not given the reasons on why they have treated e-commerce as a special entity, but let me reason it out. In the previous discussion, our focus was more on how do we use networking. Here the focus is on how to create a business environment using networking and all the things that we have discussed here. Can we create a new business environment using all the technologies that we have discussed? The focus here. Of course, in the very beginning, it is mandatory to distinguish between e-commerce and e-business. I hope most of you know it. Basic difference between e-commerce is the activity which limits itself to the commercial aspect of business. That is, getting some product from somewhere, transferring that product to the customers and making the payment. That's a limited focus of e-commerce. Whereas e-business has a larger mandate. E-business refers to the whole activity of conducting this. That is, e-commerce refers to there is a product, there is a buyer. The buyer wants to buy the product. How does he do that? How does the product reach the buyer? How does make that buying decision. Once he gets the product, what about the post-sale service to be provided? All this comes under the discussion of e-business. So e-business is a larger canvas on which e-commerce is a very small player. Let that be the general idea that Marvin will develop over here.